Gary's doctor is about to diagnose him without touching him, without examining him, and without asking a single question. He needs exactly two things: a jar of Gary's urine and Gary's date of birth. This is not a scam. This is the best medicine money can buy in the year 1380, and Gary is paying for the premium package. Gary has a cold, a runny nose, a cough, the usual. But in the 1380s, you take these things seriously because one generation ago, disease came through and killed roughly half of Europe. So Gary does the responsible thing. He gathers his savings and goes to see a real physician. A real physician is a rare and expensive creature. He has spent up to 10 years at university. He has read the ancient Greeks. Most people go their entire lives without meeting one. And after all that training, he has exactly one diagnostic instrument, a round glass flask called a matula. Gary fills it. The doctor holds Gary's urine up to the light and swirls it like wine. He checks the color against a chart with about 20 options, running from white through wine red to black. He notes the smell. Some of his colleagues, the truly dedicated ones, also check the taste. This is called uroscopy, and it is not a niche technique. It is the technique. The urine flask is the official symbol of the whole medical profession, the way the stethoscope is today. Doctors pose with it in paintings. Some patients skip the visit entirely and just send their jar to the doctor. The jar is the appointment. The verdict comes back. Gary has too much phlegm. Medieval medicine runs on a simple, elegant, wrong system. The body contains four liquids, called humors: blood, phlegm, yellow bile, and black bile. Health is the four in balance. Illness is one of them winning. A cold is phlegm winning. Phlegm is cold and wet, so the cure is its opposite. Gary is prescribed hot and dry things, roasted meat, spiced wine, and no fresh fruit. Half of medieval medicine is fighting your symptoms with a menu. Now for the date of birth. Because before anyone treats Gary, the doctor needs to consult the sky. Serious physicians carry a diagram called the zodiac man, a drawing of a human body with a star sign stamped on every part. Aries owns the head. Pisces owns the feet. The rule is strict. Never cut or bleed a body part while the moon is in its sign. This is not fringe thinking. This is what makes a doctor look professional. And it comes from the very top. In 1348, the King of France asked the University of Paris to explain the plague. 49 of Europe's finest medical minds investigated and delivered their official finding. On the 20th of March, 1345, at 1 hour after noon, Saturn, Jupiter, and Mars had gathered in the sign of Aquarius and corrupted the air. The deadliest disaster in human history, formally blamed on 3 planets holding a meeting. Back to Gary. His chart says the excess phlegm should be bled out of him, but the physician will not do it himself. Cutting people is manual labor, and university men do not do manual labor. They diagnose. For the actual procedure, Gary is sent down the street to the barber. The barber surgeon is the era's one-stop body shop. Haircut, shave, tooth pulling, boil lancing, vein opening. Same man, same chair, ideally not the same blade. The striped pole outside is his advertisement, and it is not subtle. White for the bandages, red for what the bandages are for. And bloodletting is not just for sick people. It is routine maintenance, like changing the oil. Monks are bled on a schedule at least 4 times a year, whole monasteries taking turns. Afterward, each monk gets about 3 days off in the infirmary with extra food and no night prayers. It is the closest thing the 14th century has to a spa weekend. The entry fee is blood. Before his procedure, Gary is offered the premium treatment, theriac, the universal cure. More than 60 ingredients, including the roasted flesh of vipers, matured for years like a fine wine, priced like one too. It is said to work against poison, plague, and everything in between. There is also a thriving market in counterfeit theriac, which works exactly as well as the real thing. Gary cannot afford either, so the vein it is. But there is a problem. The doctor checks his almanac and frowns. The moon is currently in Gemini, and Gemini rules the arms. Opening Gary's arm today would be malpractice. Gary, dripping and feverish, is told to come back when the sky is in a better mood. 3 days later, the moon moves on, and the procedure is approved. The barber ties Gary's arm, opens the vein, and drains a bowlful. Everyone agrees that Gary looks noticeably paler now, which is recorded as progress. A week later, Gary's cold is gone. It leaves on exactly the schedule a cold keeps when nobody treats it at all. The physician records another successful cure and sends the bill. It is more than Gary's neighbor earns in a month. One last thing. A few years from now, a customs officer named Geoffrey Chaucer will describe the perfect doctor in a poem. His highest praise? The man was grounded in astronomy. He also mentions, in passing, that the doctor had a special love of gold. Gary's troubles are not confined to 1 century. History is long, and Gary lives in all of it.